Hi everyone, my name is Michael, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case. On May 24, 2019, Jennifer Dulos, a doting mother, was never seen again by her 5 kids and family. This shocking event threw the police into a deep investigation, which uncovered an even more shocking truth. Jennifer Dulos's disappearance had been caused by someone who had at a time been the center of her world. Jennifer Dulos was born on September 27, 1968 in New York City to Hillard Farber, a banker, and Gloris Ortenberg, a philanthropist. Jennifer had just one sibling, her sister Melissa Irene Farber. She studied at Brown University and graduated in 1990. She got a master's degree in writing from New York University Tisch School of Arts. Jennifer's uncle Arthur Ortenberg and his wife founded a fashion company, Clairbone Inc. In 2004, Jennifer Dulos got married to her heartthrob, Fotis Dulos. They had 5 children together, 2 sets of twins and a girl. They named them all after Greek saints: Theodore Dulos, Constantine Dulos, Petro Dulos, Christian Dulos, and Cleopatra Noel Dulos. Jennifer and her husband Fotis Dulos were united for 13 years until their marriage hit the rocks in 2017. Jennifer had grown scared of the man she was once in love with. This brings the question, who was Fotis Dulos, and what had changed about him? Fotis Dulos was born on August 6, 1967, in Turkey. He grew up in Athens, Greece. Fotis moved to the United States of America in 1986. He studied at Brown University and graduated in 1989. A few years later, Fotis bagged a master's degree in finance at Columbia Business School. Fotis met his first wife, Hilary Vanessa Alama, at Brown University. They had attended the same school. He married her in Athens in 2000. After their marriage crashed in 2004, Fotis moved to Connecticut. Dulos had married Jennifer in September 2004, a month after his divorce. He had been seeing Jennifer while he was still married to Vanessa Alama. After their marriage, they moved to Farmington. Their union produced 5 children. Jennifer Dulos adored her life. That was what made the police suspicious when she disappeared. Jennifer would never intentionally abandon her children. Before her disappearance, Jennifer had filed for a divorce and was fighting for the sole custody of her kids. Her marriage to Fotis had gone so sour she had become terrified for her and her children's lives. The Dulos marriage hit rock bottom in 2017. Jennifer Dulos first hinted about her troubles in her marriage in a blog post on March 12, 2012. She shared how she wished she was a much stronger person and confrontations did not scare and appall her. In 2017, Jennifer Dulos filed for a divorce on the account that Fotis Dulos was increasingly living an independent life and cheating on her with his colleague Michelle Tronis, a native of Venezuela. Jennifer Dulos filed for emergency custody of her 5 kids in 2017. Although the court denied her request, it granted her and Fotis Dulos shared custody. Jennifer Dulos was scared for her life, but most importantly for the safety of her children. She claimed that her husband, Fotis Dulos, exhibited irrational, unsafe, bullying, threatening, and controlling behavior. She shared one of the unfortunate experiences she had suffered at Fotis's hands on June 3, 2017. He had found out that she had planned activities for their children on a Saturday morning. It had not sat well with Fotis, so he lost control. According to Jennifer, he had become enraged and agitated. She was terrified and tried to get away from him by rushing upstairs, but Fotis followed all the way up, and even after she locked the door and bolted it so that she was trapped inside, he kept verbally attacking her and physically intimidating her. Jennifer Dulos knew she was not safe with her husband. She had invited trouble when she filed for a divorce. In an interview, she confessed that she was terrified of Fotis. She admitted that her desire for a divorce had infuriated him and he was going to retaliate by harming her in some way. Jennifer Dulos claimed that in May 2017, when she filed for a divorce, Fotis had threatened to kidnap and harm their kids if she refused to agree with his terms in the divorce settlement. He had even bought a gun that year. In 2018, Jennifer requested the emergency sole custody of her kids. During the hearing process, the court discovered that Fotis had broken several court orders. Jennifer was given full physical custody of her children, while both parents shared legal custody of the kids. Fotis was granted supervised visits and monitored phone calls. Jennifer and the kids moved to a rented house in New Canaan, 70 miles away from Fotis Dulos. Fotis Dulos had been genuinely hurt by Jennifer's accusation. In an email he sent to Jennifer in 2017, he expressed his concern for his children's well-being. He confessed that their children needed both parents, not just one of them. He pleaded with Jennifer to reconsider their marriage for the sake of their children. He even stated that they could work as partners and learn to tolerate each other. However, while denying the accusation levied against him by Jennifer, Fotis claimed that Jennifer was the one turning their kids against him. He alleged that the mother of his children called him a psychopath and told the children he did not care about them. He also claimed that Jennifer had bragged about dragging the divorce over a space of 2 years so that she could have the mafia break his legs with a baseball bat. Fotis also denied ever threatening to kidnap his kids. He admitted to buying a gun, but he had only gotten it for home protection. Fotis Dulos' arguments could have been considered or even believed if the next event did not happen. Jennifer Dulos was last seen on May 24, 2019 at around 8:05 a.m. that day. She had dropped her children off at New Canaan County School and returned home shortly after. The police were alerted of her disappearance by some of her concerned friends. Jennifer had 2 appointments with her doctor scheduled for 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. in New York City. Jennifer never missed her doctor's appointment, so her family became worried that she had not shown up. Jennifer's friends were not the only ones who noticed something unusual about Jennifer's disappearance. Her live-in nanny, Lauren Almeida, had been worried when she arrived at Jennifer's New Canaan apartment by 11:30 a.m. and met her Range Rover in the garage. She recalled that Jennifer had planned to take the car to her doctor's appointment instead of her Chevrolet Suburban, which was missing in the garage. Lauren Almeida did not inform the police of Jennifer's disappearance until 7 p.m. By that time, it was glaring that there was something fishy about Jennifer's absence, as she never arrived home that late or left home on her own without informing anybody. After the disturbing reports, the police began their investigations. Some detectives searched Jennifer's New Canaan house. However, they would break the hearts of everyone who cared about Jennifer Dulos. On the floor of the garage, blood splatters were found, and also blood traces were found on one of the walls in the garage and the door. Blood traces were found on the exterior of the Range Rover as well inside the house. Blood splatters were only found in the kitchen, and it was not Jennifer's blood alone. It was a mixture of hers and her husband Fotis Dulos' blood. This made people wonder how Fotis Dulos had murdered his wife. Further investigations by the police showed that Fotis Dulos had been at Jennifer Dulos' apartment on the day she went missing. According to the police, Fotis had gone to Jennifer's home with a bike, as the tracks around the house were too small to belong to a car. However, Fotis lay in wait for his wife until she returned from dropping her kids off at school. He then shot her in cold blood, cleaned up the scene, and got rid of the evidence at about 10:25 a.m. Jennifer's neighbor's CCTV captured the Chevrolet Suburban leaving her home. The police believed that Fotis Dulos had been the one driving the car. The police alleged that he had hidden Jennifer Dulos' body and other items relevant to the cleaning of the murder scene in the car. After hiding Jennifer's body, Fotis Dulos had abandoned the car 3 miles away from New Canaan. The police were confident that Fotis was a cold-blooded murderer because of his suspicious actions later that day. At around 7:30 p.m., Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend, Michelle Traconis, were caught on tape dumping garbage in trash bins. This could have seemed pretty normal, except they had used 30 trash bins in different spots on Alford Avenue, Hartford. When the police searched the bins, they discovered different incriminating items in the garbage bags. The police found different cleaning items, some pieces of blood-stained clothes, and used hand gloves. A test was run on the items, and the results confirmed the police's fear. The blood matched Jennifer Dulos, while Fotis's DNA was found inside one of the gloves found and on one of the trash bins. Fotis Dulos murdering his wife in cold blood did not cause as much shock as his girlfriend Troconis being an accomplice in the crime. Michelle Troconis, a native of Venezuela, was many things. She was a mother, a horse rider, and a former ESPN reporter in South America. But what no one would ever expect her to be was a cold-blooded criminal. Michelle Troconis started seeing Fotis Dulos while he was still married to Jennifer Dulos. Her affair with Fotis contributed to the breakdown of his marriage. After Jennifer went missing, the police brought Troconis in for questioning. When asked where she was on the day Jennifer disappeared, she claimed that she had lunch with Fotis Dulos that afternoon, and also claimed that she and Dulos had gone to one of his properties to clean it up in preparation for a meeting with a client. The police believed that they had been cleaning up Jennifer Dulos's body. The police investigation led them to more videotapes showing Michelle Troconis in a more compromising situation. These tapes led them to find out exactly how Fotis Dulos had committed such a horrific act. Fotis Dulos had carefully planned out his moves, and the police believed he had not done so alone. On May 24, 2019, Fotis drove a Tacoma truck owned by his employee without his permission to New Canaan, Connecticut. In a video captured by a school bus at 7:05 a.m., the Tacoma truck was speeding on the highway towards Waveney Park in New Canaan, the place where Jennifer's Chevrolet Suburban would later be found. The police confirmed that a bicycle tire had been found in the boot of the truck. This affirmed the police's speculation that Fotis Dulos had cycled the 3 miles from Waveney Park to Jennifer's apartment in New Canaan. The police believed that Fotis had arrived there earlier before Jennifer. He had attacked her in the garage just as she got back. Afterward, he had cleaned up the evidence, bundled Jennifer up in her Chevrolet Suburban, and driven straight to Waveney Park, where he transferred her body into the Tacoma truck. As meticulously as Fotis tried to cover up his tracks, he had left 2 huge pieces of evidence of his presence in the New Canaan house. He had left a sample of his DNA on the doorknob and a mixture of his and Jennifer's blood on the faucet in the kitchen. The police alleged that Fotis had spent hours cleaning the house. Hence, the neighbor's surveillance footage showed Jennifer's Chevrolet Suburban leaving the house around past 11. The police were even more certain that Fotis Dulos was a cold-blooded murderer when he made another shocking move 5 days after his wife's disappearance. Fotis Dulos took the Tacoma truck out again without permission. This time, his destination showed that Fotis was as guilty as they come. He had driven the truck straight to a local car wash and detail shop. In the surveillance video of the truck, a black SUV was driving right behind him. The driver of the SUV was none other than Michelle Troconis. In the video, Fotis is seen dropping the car off at the car wash. Afterward, he hopped in beside Troconis in her SUV. The police were convinced that the couple's mission was to rid the car of every bit of evidence. However, they were not so fortunate in their quest. Samples of Jennifer's DNA were found on the passenger seat of the car. As expected, with all the daunting evidence gathered against Fotis Dulos, he became the major suspect in Jennifer Dulos's disappearance. On June 7, 2020, Fotis Dulos was arrested and charged with capital murder, and kidnapping. Fotis Dulos had not been arrested for the murder and kidnapping of Jennifer Dulos until June 2020. You might expect that Fotis should have been arrested earlier. He sure was, but he had not been charged with murder. On June 1, 2019, Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis were arrested at a hotel in New Canaan, Connecticut. They were charged with hindering persecution and tampering with evidence. At the time of their arrest, the police did not have enough evidence against the couple. They both pleaded not guilty to the charges. Fotis Dulos hired Norm Pattis as his attorney. Pattis strongly believed that Jennifer Dulos was dead. Fotis and Troconis were released, but in September 2019 they were arrested again for tampering with evidence and hindering justice. However, in October 2019, Fotis appeared in court. He requested a dismissal of the charges against him. The judge mentioned that he would look into the case and review arguments from the prosecution and defense. During this period, Jennifer and Fotis Dulos were living with their maternal grandmother. The kids at that time were aged between 8 to 13. Their grandmother was granted temporary custody of the children by the court. Fotis Dulos's Waterloo came in 2020. In January, he was arrested and charged with the capital murder of his ex-wife, while his girlfriend Michelle Troconis was arrested for conspiring to murder. Following the arrest, Michelle Troconis became estranged from Fotis. In an interview, she admitted that she had made a huge mistake by trusting Fotis. Prior to their arrest in 2020, Troconis had allegedly moved out of Fotis's Farmington $5 million home with her daughter. Fotis Dulos's former lawyer and friend Kent Douglas Mawhinney was also arrested and charged with conspiracy to murder. Mawhinney was taken in at gunpoint. The police believed that he had helped Fotis and Troconis create an alibi on the morning of Jennifer's disappearance. Also, during that period, Douglas Mawhinney had been accused of spousal rape by his wife. Mawhinney became separated from his wife, and things got worse after he was arrested in connection to Jennifer Dulos's murder. His wife felt her life was in danger. She told the South Windsor Police Department that her husband was planning to kill her with the help of his friend Fotis Dulos. During their investigations, the police discovered that Douglas Mawhinney was a member of an East Granby gun club. A group of local hunters informed them police that they had seen a human grave on a property associated with the club. The police went ahead to search the property in question, and indeed found something very suspicious. A shallow grave was found on the secluded property. In the grave, the police found 2 bags of lime and a blue tarp. There was no body found in the grave, but the police believed that it could have been removed. The grave had been discovered with the help of a canine in August 2019. It was unfortunate that, despite the arrests, Jennifer's body was not found. Her family was devastated despite the fact that their daughter was about to get justice. In an interview, the family's spokesman confessed that the arrest of the suspects did not give them any sense of closure. He admitted that the incarceration of Jennifer's murderer could never bring her back, so the ache in their hearts could never go away. Fotis Dulos's bond was set at $6 million on January 8, 2020. He was released the next day on bail, but he had to return to court on February 8, 2020. Michelle Troconis was released on bail as well, while Douglas Mawhinney's bond was set at $2 million. However, it was reduced to over $200,000. He was released on bail on October 19, 2020. Fotis Dulos's fear after his cruel actions caught up with him led to an unfortunate event on January 28, 2020. Fotis failed to appear in court for an emergency hearing. The judge gave an order for him to be brought to court. On getting to his Farmington home, the police found Fotis in his car unconscious. Fotis apparently could not face the consequences of his actions, so he tried to take his own life. Fotis had poisoned himself with carbon monoxide. He had connected a vacuum cleaner to the exhaust pipe of his SUV and passed it back into the interior of his car. The police performed CPR on him and restored a faint pulse. He was transported to Yukon Medical Center by ambulance. The center transferred him to Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx to undergo hyperbaric oxygen therapy. While at the hospital, Fotis' children, who were still living with their grandmother, visited their father. It was the first time they saw their father after he was accused of murdering Jennifer. A suicide note was found by the